My sister-in-law tried on my wedding dress the day before the wedding despite being a larger size and ruined it. Now we're suing her while she's busy creating a podcast to vent about her pain. I'm 28 years old and got married a month ago, but what I'm about to recount happened before the wedding, specifically the day before. It was all thanks to my 34-year-old sister-in-law who completely ruined something that was incredibly special to me. I still can't fathom what was going through her mind or why she thought what she did was acceptable. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever get over it. My sister-in-law is my 30-year-old husband's older sister. She's the kind of woman who doesn't mind her own business but constantly meddles in everyone else's. I want to clarify that she wasn't overtly mean to me, but I also wouldn't say we got along well. There was an unspoken tension between us, as if she viewed me as someone invading her space. I believe that's the necessary context to understand the rest of my story. My wedding dress was one of the most important things to me. I spent months searching for it. I didn't want anything extravagant or overly expensive, but I did want something that truly felt right. And when I finally found it, I knew it was the one. It was beautiful, soft ivory satin with delicate lace, a fitted bodice, and a flowing skirt. It wasn't cheap either, but I paid for it myself with my savings. I went to several fittings, had adjustments made, and finally it was tailored perfectly to my measurements. I'm a size 6, and the dress was made exactly for me. I carefully stored it in my closet inside a sealed protective bag waiting for the big day. I had every detail planned: my hairstyle, makeup, shoes, everything to perfectly complement that dress. But then my sister-in-law showed up to spoil it. The day before the wedding, I stayed at my in-laws' house because it was closer to the venue. My husband had gone to one of his groomsmen's houses. My dress was hanging in the guest room closet where I was sleeping. I truly didn't think I needed to explicitly tell people not to touch it. It was obvious that no one had any business with it. It was a wedding dress for the bride, plain and simple. I went out with my bridesmaids for lunch and to pick up some last-minute things. I was gone for perhaps 3 hours, and upon returning, I immediately noticed something was off upstairs. The zipper on the dress bag was open, but when I opened the bag, that's when I saw it. My wedding dress was completely stretched and ripped in several places. The back zipper was burst, the seams were open, and the bodice looked like someone had tried to force their way into it. There were even faint makeup smudges near the neckline. I still had the dress in my hands when my sister-in-law walked into the room as if nothing had happened. She looked at me, saw the dress, and burst out laughing because it looked quite odd. I asked her directly if she had anything to do with this, and at first she denied it, but after a while she admitted that she had tried it on for fun. She said she was curious about how the dress would look on her and couldn't resist the temptation. She thought it wasn't a big deal, just a few issues that could be fixed with a little sewing. Here's the crucial detail: my sister-in-law is a size 9 and I am a size 6. That dress was never going to fit her. She must have forced it on if she even managed to get it on at all, and in doing so she ripped the seams, damaged the zipper, and completely ruined the structure of the bodice. I don't know how she managed to squeeze into it, but it clearly wasn't without consequences. And she did it all without asking me, without permission, without even considering that something like that could happen. She didn't apologize. She just minimized it because to her it wasn't that serious and surely fixable. She kept saying it could be repaired or that I could simply wear something else if I didn't like how it looked. I wasn't going to expect an intelligent response from someone who knew we were different sizes and still tried it on anyway. I was supposed to wear that dress the next day. I should have been relaxed with the final preparations. Instead, I spent the night trying to find someone who could help me repair it at the last minute. There was no time to buy another dress. The boutique where I bought mine was in another city, and they had nothing in stock in my size that I could use anyway. I called several seamstresses, and luckily a very kind lady agreed to help me at the last minute. I had to cross the city during rush hour. She spent hours trying to sew the seams and fix the zipper, but the dress was never the same again. It no longer fit me the same way, and I had to be extremely careful when wearing it to prevent it from falling apart again. I didn't sleep at all that night. I was so stressed, so angry, and so shattered. Everyone tried to calm me down, telling me to focus on the wedding and not let that ruin my big day. But my dress was ruined because my sister-in-law thought it was funny. That was the worst part, how unremorseful she was. She even made some comments where I had to compose myself not to attack her and leave her in worse shape than my dress, prompting her mother to tell her to shut up and my husband to tell her not to make things even worse. But my sister-in-law seized the comment to ask how the dress was, to which I replied that I would widen her mouth if she said anything more. My husband was already furious from the moment he found out. They had a huge fight, but by then the damage was already done. I had to keep pulling it up during the ceremony to prevent it from falling off. The strange thing is that even my mother-in-law defended me and was completely upset with her daughter for what she did. For her, what she did was totally unacceptable. But this wasn't the only drama surrounding the wedding. My husband and I tried to focus on the positive aspects of the day and move forward, but of course my sister-in-law couldn't let it go. A large part of the problem had to do with the venue. In 2021, my sister-in-law was going to get married, but her engagement ended a few months before the date. Everything was already paid for the hall catering decorations. But after the wedding was canceled, they managed to get credit instead of a refund. Because of this, my in-laws had paid most of it and thought it was a lost cause, as it didn't seem likely my sister-in-law would ever get married. But when my husband and I got engaged, my mother-in-law realized the venue credit was still available. She suggested we use it for our wedding. The key detail is that my sister-in-law was asked first. She said, and I quote, "Do whatever you want with it." So it's not like we stole anything from her or she was angry about the matter. So we booked the venue in our name. We changed everything decoration theme menu. It was 100% our wedding, not a recycled version of hers. After the wedding, I assumed things would calm down, but instead my sister-in-law started telling people that I stole her wedding. She claimed that I copied the venue her dream dress and that I erased her from her own family. She started spreading rumors that I humiliated her for trying on the dress and that I made her feel disgusting and fat. I don't know how I did that. It's not like I intentionally put on a smaller size dress to shame her about her weight. That dress was my size, simple as that. For the record, I never commented on her body or size. I was upset because she destroyed my dress without permission, not because of how she looked in it. But now she accuses me of body shaming her. She even posted on social media about how someone close stole her dream wedding and mocked her body. She made it sound as though I had harassed her, and her post was flooded with supportive comments. Some relatives started treating me coldly, and some didn't even attend the post-wedding brunch. My husband was furious and confronted her again. She said I made her feel invisible, that seeing me get married at her venue was painful, and that trying on my dress was a moment of grief and longing. She completely ignored the fact that she herself said she didn't want it. Now she refuses to attend any family events if I am present and keeps saying that I punished her for her body and stole her day. I had let the dress issue go, but this constant victimization and her attempts to defame me with complete lies have utterly exhausted my patience. That's why we've been consulting with a lawyer to sue my sister-in-law. She can prove if she wishes that I said all the things I'm accused of. Or she can shut her mouth once and for all and pay for the dress and damages. Not only did she act wrongly, but she wants to escalate this. Perfect. We'll make this very big since lawyers love to make things big. Update 1. My sister-in-law is being sued, and instead of settling with us, she is choosing to make things even worse. 2 months have passed, and it's as if she hasn't been able to move past this issue. She's using her lawyer to drag out the matter while digging herself deeper into the hole she's made. She surprised us with a mass email she sent to almost the entire extended family, cousins, uncles, aunts, even some of her old friends who weren't even invited to our wedding. The subject of the email was something like, "A personal note on my pain," and the email itself was like a dramatic essay. It spoke of how deeply traumatized she felt, how seeing someone else walk down the aisle in the venue that was hers was like reliving a breakup, and how she was shamed and humiliated for her grief in her body. She didn't name me directly, but there was no need. She made it clear who she was talking about and attached photos, one with images from our wedding that she took from social media, and another with screenshots of a Pinterest board she had created when planning her wedding in 2021. There were photos of bouquets, tables, a similar arch, and some inspirational cakes. She claimed everything looked suspiciously similar, and that it was as if someone had stolen her identity. She completely ignored the fact that we changed everything. The colors were different, the menu entirely new, and the decor was made to our taste. Furthermore, she never actually had a wedding. My in-laws even asked my sister-in-law if it was okay for us to use the venue credit, and my sister-in-law said, "Do whatever you want with it." Still, the email caused drama. Some people wrote to me saying I shouldn't have used that credit, even though the credit doesn't belong to my sister-in-law but to my in-laws, and she had said it was fine. It almost seems like she said that just so we would use it, and then she could accuse us of something. They are also forgetting that my sister-in-law didn't get married because her fiancé canceled everything when he caught her with a guy in the car at the door of the house they shared. We're not talking here about an innocent person who didn't get married because love is elusive for her. The only thing elusive for this woman is fidelity, because she has never known it. Even her boyfriends have left her after discovering her history, even though she wasn't the one who told them, but other people. To top it all off, my sister-in-law started telling people that I deliberately left my dress in a visible place to mock her, that it was a kind of trap I set to bring us to this point. My dress was sealed in a closed bag in a room where she had no business being, which she entered before the wedding. But according to my sister-in-law, I provoked her emotional reaction by exhibiting something she couldn't wear. It's completely twisted. She wants to make it seem as if I had set up a cardboard box with a stick tied to a string, and when she was under it, I pulled the string to trap her. Yes, that's how crazy it sounds. And then came her biggest spectacle. Last weekend, my sister-in-law suddenly posted a photo of the wedding venue on Instagram with a caption like, "Round 2 this time for real," tagging the venue and adding a wedding date for next spring. The post insinuated that she and her ex-fiancé had reconciled and were finally planning to get married there. Immediately, it received tons of likes and comments like, "How happy for you and you deserve it." My husband and I were shocked, but also confused. So my mother-in-law decided to call the venue just to verify if my sister-in-law had booked it. The owner told her no. My sister-in-law had never contacted them, hadn't paid anything, and there were no future reservations under her name. The date she posted was already reserved by another couple. We're also not sure if her fiancé even knows he's going to marry her. So yes, my sister-in-law simply went to the venue, took a photo from outside, and uploaded it to Instagram pretending she would get married there. She faked a new wedding announcement just to generate sympathy and divert attention back to herself. She didn't tag her fiancé, she only named him. My mother-in-law and father-in-law tried to talk to her after she posted the fake photo, and my mother-in-law even suggested therapy. She wasn't harsh. She genuinely offered to pay for part of the treatment and told her that talking to someone might help her process everything she was clearly still carrying. But my sister-in-law took it badly and accused them of choosing their daughter-in-law over their biological daughter. She left crying and hasn't spoken to them since. Now she has blocked me, my husband, and my in-laws on all platforms. The next day, the post was gone. I think her ex-fiancé found out and sent a report or something. All this doesn't prevent our lawsuit from continuing, and she will have to pay for the costs of the dress. Not because she's clearly crazy. We're going to have pity on her. She's crazy, but not enough to feel sympathy for her. I even think she's using this supposed craziness as an excuse. But it won't work because anything she uses against us will be used by us to sue. The best thing she could do is stop this nonsense and reach a settlement, because otherwise this will cost her much more than a simple dress. Update 2. A month has passed since my sister-in-law faked a wedding announcement, blocked half the family, and turned the entire situation into a self-pitying circus. I hadn't heard anything from her since her meltdown, and I thought she had finally taken the high road and everything would proceed only through legal channels. Until I received a direct message from someone telling me more of my sister-in-law's nonsense. "Your sister-in-law has a podcast now where she talks about you." At first I thought it was a joke. No one would make a podcast to talk about another person, especially someone with whom they have an active lawsuit. But when I clicked on the link, there it was. She already had 4 episodes, and in each episode she talked about her pain and attacked me. The podcast was called Healing the Bride, and the description said it was about the raw and painful journey of a woman whose big day was snatched away and whose heart was broken. She never mentioned my name, but the entire podcast was about me. Every episode was filled with accounts of her own life, but dramatized to seem more painful than they truly were. For example, the episode about the dress, where she said she innocently tried on a dress, and how that moment turned into a full-blown attack on her for being a few pounds overweight and for being a bride who was left. She talked about being body-shamed and cast out of her family for not looking like a model in a dress that wasn't made for her. Moreover, it included exaggerated emotional music and even fake tears, which I believe weren't hers, but were added effects later. I have to admit, she put a lot of effort into it. I think if she put the same effort into her own life, she would be very successful today. My husband listened to it with me and was speechless. His parents were even more horrified because there were mentions of them as well, and they were neither good nor true. In the 4th episode, she dropped a bombshell. She had coincidentally sent a script based on her experience to an independent production group. She claimed the story had been accepted for a short film and that she would be co-producer to ensure the story remained intact and reflected her own pain. She even posted photos of the printed script with some image filters to add drama. All of this has been sent to our lawyer, who unfortunately has had to listen to this woman's delusions. Unfortunately, not only because he has listened to it and wasted his time on this, but because all those hours will be paid for by us. But if we win, it will be my sister-in-law who pays for all of this. Then she can start a new podcast called The Lawyer's Bills. I'm sure it will be a huge success. And as if that weren't enough, my sister-in-law now plans to do a public reading of the script. She announced it on her podcast page, saying she was going to hold a small local event to read the first draft and connect with her audience intimately. Tickets cost $15. I wish I were joking. She's going to charge $15 to a group of brainless people like herself to read them some garbage she made up that makes no sense. She says it's for healing, but it's clear that all of this is for money in addition to attention. I still maintain that my sister-in-law has a lot of energy, but it's misdirected. If she put this into something more productive, she would have a very different life. At this point, I don't even think she's crazy. I think she's an evil genius who's taking advantage of this. Update 3. I didn't think my sister-in-law could top everything she had already done, but somehow she managed. I thought her fake wedding announcement, the podcast, and the script reading were her lowest point. God knows how wrong I was because my sister-in-law has a lot of ideas. This latest action wasn't just dramatic, it was cruel, and this time it finally made the rest of the family fed up. It all started with an invitation not from my sister-in-law but from her new assistant. Apparently she has an assistant, though it's likely just her using another email account. I received an email from a generic Gmail account saying that my sister-in-law was hosting a private screening of a documentary at a rented local hall. The invitation was formal. I rolled my eyes and deleted it. My husband received one too, as did his parents and other relatives. None of us planned to attend. After the podcast and the fake short film buzz, we thought it was just another attempt to grab attention, but one of my husband's cousins did go, mostly out of curiosity. She then told us everything. We thought it was all fake, like her fake wedding, but there really was an event. My sister-in-law had rented a small event space and decorated it with candles, white roses, and framed photos of herself. There was a projection screen, dramatic music, and a printed program. She stood at the front and gave a long, emotional speech about how she had finally healed and wanted to share her story to help other women whose moment had been stolen. Then she projected a 25-minute video edited like a documentary, full of clips, fake reenactments, with actors and everything a video like this could have. I don't know how much she spent on it, but it looked like quite a bit. The worst part was that she used actual photos from our wedding, photos that my mother-in-law had shared in the family group. My sister-in-law cropped and edited them, zooming in on my dress, our first dance, even the family toast. She used them as visuals for the part where she claimed her wedding was hijacked. She even added dramatic text like, "This was supposed to be my day, but it was stolen by someone who didn't deserve it." She didn't blur faces, she didn't hide anything. She practically accused us of stealing her life in front of a live audience, despite the fact that we have a lawsuit against her and this does not favor her case. The cousin said people looked uncomfortable, murmuring among themselves and exchanging glances. Some got up and left halfway through the screening, but the final moment was what changed everything. My sister-in-law ended the presentation by announcing that she was about to publish a memoir, not just digital, but a printed version. She showed a proof copy and said it would be publicly launched next month through self-publishing. The title, Stolen Vows: A Sister-in-Law's Betrayal. When asked if the book was fiction or non-fiction, she proudly replied that it was her truth and that she wasn't going to change any names. The next morning, our lawyer had everything, a signed statement from the cousin, a copy of the book she plans to publish. Everything. I still can't believe my sister-in-law goes to such lengths to do this, but perhaps it has to do with what she did next. She posted on social media that she was hospitalized due to a severe emotional breakdown caused by betrayal and harassment. She didn't name us, but she implied that the entire family had harassed her into silence and that her mental health was suffering because they wouldn't let her heal in peace. She uploaded a photo from what looked like a hospital bed, saying she felt fine, but that people needed to understand this was very serious. The comment section filled with sympathy again. Strangers wrote paragraphs about how strong she was, how proud they were, and how she should cut contact with toxic people no matter who they were. But this time it didn't go as she wanted. Someone in the comments recognized the hospital gown and bed as part of a set built in a local photography studio that offers dramatic-themed sessions. When that came to light, everything fell apart. The comments that were in her favor quickly turned against her. This commenter shared quite a bit of information, including contact details for the place, which made it very easy to see that everything she said was a lie, which finally leads us to our lawsuit hearing, where she basically wanted to argue that everything she did was because she wasn't mentally well, and that we were to blame because we were legally harassing her with a lawsuit which worsened her condition even more. She said this was how she reacted because she always had a problem with her weight and because of how she was left before her wedding, which was triggered at this moment because my wedding was a trigger. The absurd thing is that the judge accepted this, but asked her to present more evidence of what she was saying, like a psychological evaluation, which is causing this lawsuit to continue to extend, because now we will have a new hearing where she can make her statement in 3 weeks. We are not very worried about the evidence because I don't think there is any, but we are eager to finish all of this for her to pay and to stop harassing us. Now we will have to wait those 3 weeks when we thought this would be the end. Update 4. Finally, I have an end to my sister-in-law's ending. It sounds strange, I know, but I'm excited to finish all of this. Last week we had the second hearing where my sister-in-law had to present evidence for what she was saying, and she was very unprepared. The psychological evaluation was a joke, and that was all the evidence she had, especially compared to ours, where her ex-fiancé had signed a statement saying he left her for infidelity, plus the post where she talked about an upcoming wedding with him. The judge ordered her to pay us almost $1,000 for destroying the dress. That wasn't its price, but it set the value of what she did at that price, and another $55,000 for harassment. He also ordered her not to publish her book, to delete any posts mentioning it, and to put her podcast, which no one was listening to anyway, to sleep. She is also not allowed to have contact with us or mention us in any way. And the judge told her that although he wasn't ordering it, he recommended her to seek professional help for real, because even though he knew she used the mentally unwell card to gain a judicial benefit, the truth is that she is unwell if she did all of this, even if she doesn't know it and thinks she's smarter than everyone. But no, her intelligence is on sabbatical and her common sense hasn't been born yet.